I wonder just how well do Australians actually remember or even understand history? I also want to know whether the importance of learning from history has been abandoned by us, or whether the past simply no longer bears any relevance to the modern world that we live in. I wonder, because it should. History for me has always been a great teacher. A quote I remember, and it allows me to ponder just how important history is Winston Churchill's quote that those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And I think that still holds true in Victoria now more than ever. It seems that Victoria is in the grip of a premier who continues to demonstrate a rather fascist-like trait that should have every Victorian concerned. Daniel Andrews is exhibiting a kind of lust and is pursuing an agenda for unfettered power and control. At least that's the way it looks. And it harbours an insidious resemblance to Adolf Hitler's ability to turn German against German in the dark days of the 1930s. Daniel Andrews is aiming to do to Victoria what Nazi Germany did, and that is turn Victorian against Victorian, with the health and the safety of Victorians as his key justification. And to some degree, the strategy appears to be working. But the Premier's desire to introduce the Omnibus Bill must be stopped. And all members of Parliament, even the likes of people like Fiona Patten, who's the leader of the Reason Party, cannot possibly side with a party that's proving to be inherently immoral. Because if they do, then Victoria is about to repeat the mistakes of Nazi Germany under Adolf Hitler. Especially if Daniel Andrews gets his way with this Omnibus Bill. What Nazi Germany's November programme was to the Jews back in 1938, so will Daniel Andrews' Omnibus Bill be to the Victorians in 2020. Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass, or the November programmes, was directed against the Jews, and it was carried out by the SA paramilitary force and civilians throughout Nazi Germany on the 9th and 10th of November back in 1938. Adolf Hitler looked on, and he did nothing to stop the destruction of Jewish businesses, nor the thousands of civilian arrests which were made by German civilians against the Jews. The Night of Broken Glass became the point of no return for Nazi Germany and its persecution of the Jews. Jewish homes, hospitals, schools were ransacked as Germans demolished buildings with sledgehammers. They were ugly images. And it turned a once proud and integrated German people into this culture of demonising by Nazi German terrorists. And if people think that this comparison that I draw between the November programmes and the Omnibus Bill is a bridge too far, then they need to understand what the Premier is actually asking of Parliament and what the true meaning of the bill is. The comparison isn't too far, nor is it a stretch. The Omnibus Bill seeks to allow the Premier to give broader, sweeping powers of arrest to a greater number of people. That is, think about this, unfettered powers where people who aren't police become citizen police, and they're given the right to arrest someone who they suspect to have COVID without any real evidence. It's a Pandora's box that should never be opened. And if it is, then Victoria will be submerged in a mire of immoral consequence that it may never recover from. Is the Omnibus Bill needed in Victoria? I think the answer is a very definite no. Then why does the Premier feel that a bill like this is so important? Well, it isn't. But to the Premier's agenda of more power and control, it most certainly is. It's virtually the same power and control that Adolf Hitler sought and acquired during the 1930s and 40s. Now, what happens if those who are given the right to make arrests on suspicion of you, me, or anyone else having COVID, they don't like the way we look, or they have a personal vendetta, or are racist, homophobic, or anti-Muslim. The list goes on and on. How do we then claw our way back from the brink of impending social disaster? How will we be able to wreak and seek proper justice, or even trust that the system around us is working? The Premier is failing both Victoria and Victorians, just as he continues to fail by not leading with integrity or morality. We're being asked repeatedly, do the right thing. Again, the Premier is repeating the same mistakes that he has shown of late. Think about this, more than half of the hotel quarantine guards have been sent home with COVID. The Omnibus bill is a dangerous instrument that works against social cohesion. It has no other way to put it, and it has no place in Victoria or Victorians' lives, or anyone else for that matter. The men and women in blue that make up Victoria Police are enough. The introduction of a civilian-mandated force with aggressive new powers to arrest on suspicion is a return to the time of Nazi Germany and the night of broken glass.